Hey everyone, welcome to Weekend Wind Down with Business Coach Nancy. That's me. We are transitioning from my personal page to my business page, so I hope you guys can find me. As you know, my favorite time of the week. I'm actually been packing all day because I'm getting ready to go to the Interior Design Society National Conference this week in Savannah, Georgia. So of course I'm always last minute running out and getting things. So it's been fun. Today I have red wine again because I'm trying to use it up in the house. What do I have? I can't even pronounce it. So someone can tell me what I have and let me know if it's going to be good. Right now what I'm drinking is leftover from another bottle that I had. So hey Richie. So welcome to Weekend Wind Down. Today I'm excited because if you guys hadn't noticed, I know some of you have noticed that I have been all over LinkedIn lately. All right. I'm extending my social media even one more level, going to doing a lot more activity on LinkedIn. So let's just give me a second. I just want to share this to my personal page just so people can find us if they're looking for us. I'm going to say, come on over to my business page. Okay, so yes, I actually have a team of VAs that's helping me in a couple of different areas, and one of them is LinkedIn, but I'm still very involved. What I tend to do is sometimes one of my virtual assistants will put the first message out, but anything else that comes in is all me, right? I do all my own socializing. But, oh, hi, Jane. Hi, Kaden. So, I'm glad you made it too, Jane. You're going to be on at some point in the future. I don't remember when, but I have it on my calendar. So yeah, today we're talking about LinkedIn and how it can help grow your business. So I'm really excited to talk to my guest. Gloria Rand is here to talk about how we can use LinkedIn. She calls it, I think, the LinkedIn dance, or the dance of LinkedIn. I'm going to bring her up to the broadcast right now and she can tell us herself. Okay. So she's going to get the countdown, 3, 2, 1, because I'm using Be Live.
Hello.
Hi, Gloria.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you. I'm glad it's Friday, of course.
Always. Although, as entrepreneurs, we never really stop working. Hi, Darcy.
That's true.
So, no, I think there's sound, Joe. I think everyone else can hear us. Can Darcy, Jane, Kaden, Richie, anyone? Can you let us know if you can hear us? Because Joe is saying there is no sound.
Uh-oh, that's not good.
There's probably sound. Joe Hecker, I hear sound. Okay, Kaden. All right. Joe, adjust your phone or wherever you're watching from. So, so Gloria, tell everyone what you do for a living and what we're here to talk about today, which I'm really excited about.
Absolutely. Well, I work with conscious entrepreneurs and helping them to be able to improve their online visibility. I wonder if I should, I'm hearing an echo. I don't know if I should mute my computer a little bit. I don't know.
Let's see if
Are
you can
hearing it
hear
okay
me.
on your end?
I'm not getting the echo like we were at practice.
Oh, good. Okay. I was hearing it. So anyway, but yeah, I help people with their website content and making sure that not only can people find you on Google, but that once they get there, they're going to actually take action so that you've got the right marketing messaging there. And then I also do social media training and consulting, and LinkedIn is one of my areas of specialty, places that I like to hang out. And yeah, what we were going to talk about today is the LinkedIn dance of engagement and how you can get more leads in 3 easy steps.
Okay, we definitely want to hear that. And a lot of my audience, as we had discussed, are interior designers and in the interior design field. Cool. So let me know if the echo is better, Darcy and Kaden. We tried it with the headphones right before the broadcast, and the headphones was causing more of an echo for me. So let me know if it's doing that for you. So anyway, yes, interior designers, interior design industry, coaches, online entrepreneurs of all kinds. How can we use LinkedIn to help grow our business and get more leads.
Right. Yeah. And certainly LinkedIn is an excellent place for all of those professions to be in, because that LinkedIn is the place where it's this, yeah, the decision makers are on LinkedIn. It's definitely people who are business owners, or they're CEOs. And if that's who you want to be able to connect with, then LinkedIn's a good place to be. So the first step that I talk about is getting ready for the dance. And that involves making sure that your profile is up to speed. And of course, LinkedIn has been changing things again. One thing with social media you can count on is that it's going to change. So I've noticed that the profiles have adjusted again. The picture is a little bit different. There's a cover photo that you can use, and not everybody takes advantage of that. But this is a nice way to be able to brand yourself and be able to, show people, who you are, what your company is, what you do. So it's taking advantage of the cover photo is certainly the first thing, but then the rest of it is making sure that you're using the different pieces of the profile, different real estate that I like to talk about, like your summary, or actually the headline, I should say, is the first thing. That's so important, because especially a lot of people are using the phones to use LinkedIn. They're using the LinkedIn app, and the headline shows up really, takes up most of the real estate on your phone, I would say, when you go to the app. So
now I got to bring mine up and look.
Yeah. So that headline should be, not just say that you're the owner of a company. This is a place for you to be able to actually specify what you can do for somebody else. So it's focusing on the benefits that you offer and who you're looking for. So, you could say that if you're an interior designer, depending on what type of clients you're looking for, but say I help this person, this type of business or whatever, create beautiful interiors, something like that, so that people can see right away what it is that you do, what benefit you have for them. And it's also good to keep in mind keywords. I mentioned at the beginning that I deal with SEO. Yeah, well, LinkedIn has a search feature, which I'll talk about in a little bit more, but people are using it to look for different types of businesses, different types of people that they want to connect with. Some people like to look for marketing executives, or they search for CEO or owner. So if you do want to have that type of information in your profile, some sort of keyword that relates to your business. So whatever you've done keyword research for your website, you could probably rely on some of that information on your LinkedIn profile as well.
That's interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So the headline is definitely an important part. The summary, of course, is definitely where you can expand on who you are and why someone should do business with you. And don't treat this as a resume. I still see people who do the profile in like the third person, and but this is a social networking site. So really think of it as your elevator pitch.
Oh, guys, that's your business in words. That's an exercise I go through with them. Your business in words. It's kind of like a different type of very personalized elevator speech that comes in from the perspective of the client. Like it tells about you from what the client would want to know.
Well, that's awesome, because they could probably then just put that on their LinkedIn summary. I bet it would probably work really well to be able to, it would translate well, because again, it's you're introducing yourself to whoever it is that you're trying to connect with, and of course include a call to action at the end as well. So making sure that if you want people to call you, you want them to visit your website, make sure that you've got some way of telling people where to go. In a nice way.
I use my headline actually to drive people into my Facebook group. It's not a link, but I have a URL, like a call to action right in my headline. So if you have a call to action, is that smart to do there?
Yeah, you can. You can, absolutely. In fact, I did a profile. I redid a profile for a client not too long ago, and yeah, there was enough space that I actually did put the URL of her website too, so that people can go right to it. So it just depends on what you're using LinkedIn for. You know, whenever you're using social media, you've got to figure out, okay, what is the end in mind that I want people to do? What am I trying to accomplish here? And if you
Right.
want to use it to drive people to Facebook, then certainly use it that way. That's, it's
Right.
your profile. You can do with it really what you want.
That's right. I mean, and I'll change it, right? If a call to action is
Oh,
a free giveaway that somebody may have, they could do
hmm.
that, like, curious about something, click
Yeah.
here or go here and get your free report on whatever.
Hmm.
So you
Yeah.
can use that top part also. And then in the summary, um, I actually have 2 testimonials in my first 2 sections of my summary,
That's smart.
which
Hmm.
which my team did. I have I have a team who's been handling my Facebook, and they made a bunch of changes. And I'm looking at this going, okay, all right. So headline is good. Summary, don't do a
Yeah.
resume, which is what we were taught when we were younger.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Just have it be like you say, like what you were teaching people to do, a way of telling people who you are, but more importantly, what you have to offer your client or your prospect or your partner, whoever you're trying to attract. The other section that you can also spend some more time elaborating on actually is your experience section. It used to be that was just kind of cut and dried. It was just like, okay, I work for this company, or I'm the owner of this company, whatever. But you can actually, again, get quite a bit of information. You can put several paragraphs worth of information. So maybe there were some points that didn't fit in the summary. Well, then you can put them in the experience section. And again, offer another call to action and use some keywords related to your business and use that as another way to be able to demonstrate who you are and why people should do business with you.
Okay.
Yeah. And of course, there's many more different things in the profile that you can take advantage of. You can upload videos, you can upload articles. LinkedIn bought SlideShare years ago, so if you've got presentations, you can easily include those as well. And also see if you can get some recommendations. Like you said, you've got testimonials, but of course, LinkedIn does have the recommendations feature as well as the endorsements. But I like the endorsements are just having those faces on there, which I think doesn't mean a whole heck of a lot. I would rather read someone's quote and say, oh yeah, this is how this person helped me. I think that's much more effective.
Yes, and it's funny because I'm looking at my recommendations now. All my recommendations are still from when I ran Expressive Living, Art, and Framing, right? So
Yeah.
it's all about what a great art consultant I am. But I've yet to ask anyone. Oh, we're getting an echo again. Ask anyone to do a testimonial or recommendation on LinkedIn. So my clients who are listening, hop over to LinkedIn. Because as a coach, I'm yet to get any recommendations there. Because should you drive people to LinkedIn to do a recommendation? Like, some people ask for testimonials. They'll just say, would you mind writing me a testimonial?
Mm-hmm.
But there's so many places to write a testimonial. You can send them to your Facebook business page. You can send them to your LinkedIn. Is it just recommended that you have at least a few so that someone can read about you?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily, obsess over having 20 recommendations, but certainly I would say, especially if you wind up like changing your focus in your business, if you can get 1 or 2 new ones that reflect what you're doing right now, then it just shows that you're current. And I think it's a good thing to have. But of course, there's a lot more that you can do with LinkedIn than even just having the profile. And that's the first place to start with, because that's where people are going to be able to find you, and they're going to be able to look and see what you have to do. But the second step in this LinkedIn dance of engagement that I teach is that now, instead of just waiting for a partner to ask you to dance, is you need to be proactive and just go ahead and ask them. So that involves figuring out what types of people that you want to connect with, and then going ahead and using LinkedIn search feature to find those people. Now I know LinkedIn has the free and the paid versions. So with the free version, you are limited a little bit on how many searches that you can do per month. And whereas the premium version, the LinkedIn Navigator and whatnot, gives you a lot more flexibility. But I'm still using the free one, and I've found that it's still works well enough for me, because one of the great things about it is when you set up a search, you can actually save that search and LinkedIn will email you results once a week. So it's not like you have to spend time every day searching for people. You can do one search and then have those sent to you in email, and then you can go back in and start connecting with those people.
Okay, before we go on to that, Caden had a question. How should we use LinkedIn differently than Instagram and Facebook, for instance? Like, he doesn't quite get what's different about it. In my memory, people always said, well, LinkedIn is more like a professional
yeah.
site. And now it's really turning into quite a social site too. So how would you answer that?
Yeah, I think, and I agree with you that well, for one thing, like LinkedIn is letting you post videos on there now. And so it is, I think people are starting to get a little bit more social with it. I would say it still skews a little bit slightly more professional, but one thing that you might want to consider, and what I heard actually a friend of mine was talking about recently, is because of sort of the trouble that Facebook has gotten into with the privacy things and all of that stuff, that a lot of people are kind of thinking twice about Facebook, and they're taking another look at LinkedIn. So it could be that you might want to I would recommend first off is going into LinkedIn and seeing what other people are posting, kind of get a feel for, and especially even looking at your maybe connections that you have already or people that you want to connect with, and take a look at it, see what they're posting, kind of get a feel for the conversation and see, is it casual or is it a little bit more professional, and they can kind of compare that to what you're doing on Facebook and Instagram. And of course, Instagram is more about images all the time, yes, and videos, whereas LinkedIn, one of their platforms, and this kind of gets into the third step, which is about engagement and really starting to dance, which is posting your own articles on LinkedIn, where you can really take an opportunity to demonstrate more fully about who you are and your expertise. So you can share articles, either create original ones or even share ones that you've had on your blog, and that will help educate people about some different aspects of your business, or things that are related, something interesting, maybe an interesting topic that they need to know.
I do that. I mean, basically, I'm hearing this echo again. What I do is I post a blog, and then a couple of days later, I'll share it to LinkedIn, Google Plus, and I'll share it around.
Mm-hmm.
Are you hearing the echo too? All right, it's going to drive me crazy. So you don't necessarily have to write a brand new article for LinkedIn. You can share content.
Yeah, absolutely. You can. One thing I recommend when I'm teaching clients about this is if you're going to, well, let's say there's two different ways to do it. Number one is you can actually share one of your articles as a status update in LinkedIn, or you could actually essentially copy your blog article from your website and then paste it into LinkedIn as a new article that you're creating for LinkedIn directly. But I would include at the bottom of it, I would say, originally seen on, my website, this was originally published here, and include a link back to your website so people can see where it came from. But yeah, it's
is one better than the other?
I think the original content is better if you can do that, because I know sometimes I've heard some like SEO people say that, well, you're kind of risking having duplicate content, and Google doesn't like seeing you have the same information out there in multiple places. But I think that was a little overdone. So I think it's okay to
It'd be
have
nice
your,
if they actually
so you
just
don't have
told
to
us the
reinvent the wheel
formula.
all the time.
It'd be nice if one of these companies, these social media companies, just told us the formula.
Yeah.
Right? Can you just tell us the algorithm so that we can just make it work for us? God forbid. So when I take a blog, or anyone who's listening has a blog, at the bottom of their blogs, if it's a WordPress blog, it has
Yeah.
those share buttons. So that's you sharing to your LinkedIn.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And that would just post it as part of, well, like LinkedIn basically has like its own news feed, just like Facebook does. So it would show up that way in like the LinkedIn news feed, essentially saying that it's coming from you. But I'm talking about where you can actually, it's essentially create your own blog article on LinkedIn. And like right when you log in there, you can see up at the top, you have an option of, you can add a picture, you can just do a plain post or create an article. And it gives you that option where it opens up, like on my desktop, it opens up a whole brand new window. And then I can go ahead and create an article, put you can add bullet points, you can put headings in there, you can add all sorts of information. So
do you know whether it's better to just share as a status update on your wall, basically? Or is it better to, if you're going to repost the same blog, is it better to do it as an article?
If I would say you can do both, but
not the same one.
Yeah, not the same one. But if you create an article, then what you can do is then again share it back on different social media channels, that you got. You could share it on Facebook, share it on Twitter. Of course, LinkedIn makes it easy where if you have a Twitter account, you can do it that way. And then but also you can hopefully get comments from people and start getting some engagement that way. And so I would say maybe try to do a blog article like that on LinkedIn. If you can do it once a week or once every 2 weeks at minimum, so that you've got that longer content out there, and then do the regular status updates, sharing an article. One thing I did hear, and I will tell you this, it's interesting, is that when you're creating a status update on LinkedIn say you wrote a blog article about, I don't know, what would be one of your blog articles? Give me an example.
How interior designers find new clients.
Okay, how to find new clients. So you start writing in LinkedIn, hey, did you know that this is one of the great ways you can find new clients? And I've got 3 other ways that I've written about in my blog article. But don't put the link just there. Just tell them that first, and then in the comments, then put the link to the article. And the reason for this is LinkedIn, just like Facebook, they don't want to drive traffic away from LinkedIn. They want to keep people on LinkedIn. So if you put the link in the comments, then it's good. It sort of gets more interest in that article, and then it's not driving people away. So that's sort of one of the little hacks that you can kind of do to get the benefit of people reading your article, but not upsetting LinkedIn, and make sure that it's going to be available to more people, that they'll be able to see it.
That's interesting. Yeah, I've been starting to do that with Facebook, putting my links in my comments as opposed to putting them in the paragraph where I'm, first broadcasting, let's say.
Yeah, and they also say too, or another good strategy, and this goes for Facebook or LinkedIn, is that when you do put a post in there, to like your own post. I know it seems kind of weird to like your own stuff, but it supposedly that helps as well.
I had heard they can't tell if it's you or it's somebody else, so it just starts the ball rolling.
Exactly.
And it gets the algorithm moving.
Right, exactly.
So all right, so talk to us about how do we actually reach out to people? Because I know what I've been doing, and I'll share that after you tell us, so let's say you're an interior designer and you see, and all these executives, C-level executives. I actually have a couple of my interior designers really work with, CEOs, CIOs, CFOs, and C-level executives are their ideal client. They don't work solely for them, but what would be a non-salesy way to reach out to them?
Right. Well, what I recommend is you follow what I call the 3x3 rule, which is to spend 3 minutes looking at this person's profile and see if you can find 3 things that you have in common with them.
Oh.
So perhaps you either live in the same town, maybe possibly you went to the same college, or maybe you're in the same LinkedIn group. Something, at least one thing, but the more better, but at least one thing that you can find in common, because then when you make that connection request, then you can say, hey, I see that we're both members of this design networking group, or something like that, and or that we're both, we both live in this community, and I'd like to reach out to you and see if there's some way that we can find some way of mutually helping one another out, or something like that. But using that, finding some sort of icebreaker, that something that you have in common so you can establish rapport, is a great way to be able to connect with people.
Okay, so one of the things that we do is say, oh, I see you're an interior designer, or I have this group, Actionable Entrepreneurs, where there are interior designers, coaches, and online entrepreneurs in there, as sort of like a mastermind.
Right.
But I like the idea, because I'm always telling my clients how everything about you could connect with somebody, right? Yeah. Where you grew up, where you live now, whether you're married, whether you're divorced, where you've traveled, your interests, or maybe music and different things. Don't be afraid to share your life.
Yeah.
Because those are the connections that people are going to find with you, and you're going to find with them, right? So you can say, if you're I need to get a microphone now. Allison's saying, I think Caden's saying if we both had headsets, it wouldn't happen. But Caden, I didn't wear my headset before, and we both got the echo. So apologies for the echo.
Sorry.
Is this any better? No. Okay, I'm going back to the headset. So as much as you can put in to your profile, the better.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, the other thing is, if you do happen to find that there is nothing in common, I mean, another thing that you could do then is check and see if this, if they have a company website, or something else, if they've got some other social profile, that then you can, again, just do a little bit of research. Maybe they've published an article, or maybe they published an article on LinkedIn, and read the article. See, and then say, hey, I saw this, you wrote this article, and I liked that you made this point about something or other. Don't just say, oh, what a great article, but actually demonstrate that you read it, would be helpful. And that, I think, will go a long way as well in saying, okay, well, this person isn't just, somebody, they've at least taken the time to get to know what I'm doing. Maybe it's worthwhile having a connection with them.
I hear everybody saying, oh my God, another thing that I have to do. Right. Oh, Emily Kyle, she's watching on Facebook Live. I don't know why her comment didn't come up on my console here, but she says, does that help? That was 7 minutes ago. Does that help with SEO back to your website? So I think that was probably when we were talking about the blogs.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, just having a LinkedIn profile that you include the link to your website on will help with SEO. And that was one thing I didn't get to mention when you're setting up your profile, is that, of course, you can have like contact information, so you can share your website, but LinkedIn their default is like company website. But if you actually choose other when you're adding that information, you can actually use keywords to describe what your website is about. So for instance, on I've got it like SEO, copywriting, and social media for my link, because that's the 2 things that my business is involved with. So that, again, that's another little way of helping with the search feature for LinkedIn, anyway, for helping people to find you.
So you don't have your website in the website spot?
Well, I have the URL there, but I don't have it listed under company website. So that's sort of the default. But if when you're editing that section, you can actually choose other. You put the URL for your website in, and then you can add in keywords that tell what that website is about. So that's what actually will get displayed when someone clicks on sorry, clicks on your the contact information. So
interesting. Okay. Let's see. There's so much to learn. Like,
I know.
how many years have you? How much time do you spend keeping up on the changes in social media?
Oh goodness. I'm not even sure, but it's like, yeah, I subscribe to a lot of different blogs, and I'm always trying to either sign up for different webinars that other people have, because you always want to learn from other experts, because you can always pick up, some new tip that you didn't know before. So yeah, I do try to stay current with it as best I can. And but it does get to be a challenge sometimes, because you also want to be able to spend time working with your clients too.
Absolutely. But you know what? I do a lot of training as well.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even want to talk. It's driving me nuts. I do a lot of training as well to try to keep up on the social media and social media marketer and all those places that are kind of sources
Mm-hmm.
for us.
Right.
I try to keep up on that as well. So,
Yeah.
okay. So fill out your profile.
Yeah.
Not the way we were taught years ago. It's not a resume.
Right.
Fill out as much as you can,
Mm-hmm.
but do it as the perspective of the person looking, not what you want information, what you want to push out.
Right. Yeah. It's what's in it for them. You got to always keep them in mind and think of what are the benefits that they're going to get from connecting with you. And so that's what you have to concentrate on, having that information. And when you're making these connection requests also too, when you do start connecting with people, is give them a reason to connect with you. Don't just say, I want to, the standard, yeah, I just want to connect with you on LinkedIn. Okay, but why?
Okay.
Why do I want to connect with you? And so that's where you can, put in that, do some research and to be able to customize that request.
So you can say, I'm an interior designer on Long Island. I see you are too. Would you like to have lunch one day, right? Just to get collaborations. Or would you like to do a joint Facebook Live? Or I see you're a supplier and wondering if you have interior designer events at your place. And I'm looking for locations to have events.
Yeah.
So Gloria, do you have a headset? Because Kaden is saying if you do have headphones, it would stop my end.
Oh, it's on my end, huh?
Well, it's just that we both don't have headphones, apparently. You had one on before, right?
The problem, well, I might be able to plug it in here. Okay, hang on one quickie second. I think it's in the other room. Let me see if I can get it.
Okay. So one of the ways that I'm using LinkedIn is I'm just sending invites into my group. So if any of you guys have a group, you could certainly do that, right? Another way you can use it is for collaborations like Gloria and I are doing, right? Doing joint Facebook Lives. Another way you can do it is, and I want Gloria to get really into this, is a search function, search feature. So let's say you're in New York City and you're looking for someone with similar interests to you and that they're located in New York City. You can get pretty deep down on the search function. So I really want Gloria to get into that.
I'm trying. Let me see what I can do.
Take your time. I'm going to take this. Everybody, take a sip of your wine. Or water, or coffee. What's everybody drinking? Somebody tell me what you're drinking. Is anyone drinking with me? I'm going to be going live next week a lot from Savannah. So you guys keep an eye out for that. I think Gloria's under the desk.
And now I'm trying to. Okay. There we go. All right.
Hello.
Now I got to see if I can.
I can hear you. I don't know if it's through the headset though.
Yeah, I know. That's what I don't know if it is.
I'm still echoing.
Okay, I can hear you actually through here now.
Okay. Oh.
Okay. So then I think we're.
Are we good?
I think we're good. Yay.
Kaden, this is why you can't leave me. Make him feel guilty. He's my son and one of my VAs.
Okay.
What's Allison drinking? Wait, did Allison say tequilas?
Oh,
multiple. Nice. Good for you.
I'll do that after this. I'm going out to dinner after we're done here. So.
Oh, yay, no echo. Oh, yes, I know. You
Okay.
told me. You told me. All right, so from
Okay.
now on, I have to tell my guests to have
Yes,
headphones.
we have to have headphones. Yeah.
I didn't
Okay.
have these problems when I went from my personal page to my phone. And if Joe's still watching, he's going to be like, I told you. Okay, talk to us about the
Okay.
search
All right.
function. Like, how
Okay.
can,
Yes.
again, if it depends on what we're doing. So let's say we're
Right.
looking for potential clients,
Right. Yeah.
which really the bottom line is what everyone
Right.
eventually wants, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
How do we use that
Okay.
search function?
Okay. So, and again, if you've got the free version, you can go ahead and, let's say, if it's helpful to have some type of keyword that you need to search for. So whether it is you're searching by location, you can specify that, or you can, if you know that if you're looking for executives, let's say you're looking to connect with CEOs of something, or you're looking for the type of business. Maybe you want to look for a different type of business. You put that in, and then you in the advanced search, which I think is on the top of the LinkedIn, and then specify, because I think it'll give you, like, I think it does like people, businesses or groups or something like that, but just select people. And then then once you get those results, usually what they do is they'll give you a list of, I think it's like your second connections first, but then again, you can go into connections and you can specify just first connections if you want to double check that it's people maybe you want to reconnect with that you've already been connected with, or you can expand it and open that out to a wider pool of candidates.
Okay, so I see people, jobs, and posts. So I can search by any of those. So if I put in New York City, and I click on that, now it gets, and I am a paid member.
Okay.
Because I get a discount, but we'll go there right now. So after I put in New York City,
right.
I don't know if I can share my screen. After New York City, then it gives me sub-filters. It says then location, connections, current companies. Right. So if I drop down connections, it says first connections, second connections, and third connections. So explain to everybody what that is.
Okay, so your first connections are people that you have directly connected with. Then second connections are people that are connected to
your first
connection, right?
Like and a second cousin.
The second cousin, right, exactly. And then the third connections are people who are connected to the second connections. And then, so it's like going out, that's like, pretty much everybody else.
So if I'm searching, if I live in New York City and I'm searching New York City and I hit first connections, it's going to tell me people I'm already connected to. So the message to them would be like, hey, we've been connected on LinkedIn for a while, just starting to reach out now to you. I'm an interior designer, or I do whatever. If you ever need my help, or I notice we went to the same, or we both like something, because hopefully they're sharing and they've done their 3 minutes of research on that person.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. And then if you're clicking on second connections, what do you say to them?
Okay, well, now this is where you definitely want to take that time to do some research and see what you have in common with them, because you're not already connected. And another thing that you can do, which I forgot to mention, is not only what you have in common, but it might be you may have connections in common. So you could say, hey, I see that we both know, Joe Smith, and I thought it might be good for us to get to know each other as well and see if we have some synergy between us. So that's another thing that you can use. It seems so
awkward.
Well, yeah, I guess sometimes
like unless I have another, like if it was Jane, I'd be like, oh, I know, I see Jane. Jane did a little article on me in her, magazine, and thought I'd reach out to some new people this week. I mean, that's kind of what I would say. Just like try to reach out and get to know more people.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I mean, as much personal information, some way of, making it more interesting but more related to them that you can do is going to make them more willing to accept the connection. Now, then again, I mean, some people will just they just accept connections anyway. So just by your virtue of reaching out to them, they may say, okay, fine. Because a lot of people, that's what they do. Because again, what I think you had mentioned earlier, it's not necessarily, they may decide that, well, maybe you and I aren't going to connect, but I like who you've got in your circle. And maybe I'm going to connect with you because I want to connect with this person over here.
Yeah, and that's what Jane is saying. Jane is saying, as she said, sometimes isn't it just better to be upfront? And you know what?
Yeah.
I think so for sure. You know, like I'll say, I'm growing a Facebook group. Would you be interested in going in? Like that's very direct.
Yeah.
I do a little nicer first, but in Jane's case, she's a writer and a publisher, so she could say, you know what, I noticed you're connected with somebody, you know, that I wrote an article about, and I was looking at your profile, and maybe you'd be perfect to be in my magazine as well. Let's chat. You know, where
exactly.
So you do have to do. I feel like for some reason I'm feeling like LinkedIn is a little bit more work than Facebook and Instagram.
Well, yeah, it is because it is. And I would say the other thing is that
for an entrepreneur, I should say.
Yeah. In that you also, in a way, unfortunately have to treat it like a numbers game because not everybody will even the people who will respond to the connection request, even when then you reach out again, they don't necessarily respond to the messages. Even if you write something really nice, it just, I think people aren't
always respond.
Yeah, I know. They're not always engaged in LinkedIn. So, but that doesn't mean you can't, or you don't have to, or you should, I should say, doesn't mean you should write them off because once you do connect with them, even if they don't respond to your messages, now that you're connected, you should have access to hopefully their email address or phone number that they may have put in their profile. And so then you can follow up and say, hey, you know, I sent you a LinkedIn message last week or so, and you're probably super busy or maybe you missed it. I just wanted to follow up and see if we can maybe set up a time to talk.
I love that, but is that against LinkedIn rules?
No, because you're connected already.
Okay,
especially
but you can't,
because you're connected already.
But you can't just download all your connections and upload them to your Constant Contact or your Aweber or your MailChimp.
Well, you can.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you a secret. Nobody tell anybody. Okay, nobody tell anybody. Years ago, I downloaded my LinkedIn, and I dumped all the email addresses into my mail system. Okay, tell anybody.
Okay,
and somebody. Again, I was just sending my regular emails. This was probably around when I first started coaching. It was like, almost 3 years ago, right? Yeah. So, and I sent her my email. And some woman wrote back and she said, I hit unsubscribe. And stupid me, here's a lesson for all of you. She hit unsubscribe. And in my unsubscribe, I had her in a list called LinkedIn contacts. So I guess when she hit unsubscribe, it said... unsubscribe from list LinkedIn contacts, and she started sending me emails. She was like, you are not allowed, that's against LinkedIn rules, and if you're going to do that, I'm going to report you. And I was like, which side of the bed did you get out of today? Excuse me, just unsubscribe and move on your merry way. Right. So
and I would say it's not against LinkedIn rules because LinkedIn tells you how to do it. So how can it be against LinkedIn rules if they tell you this is how you can download your contacts?
Good point. I didn't really, you know what, but it did make me go, okay, if we're going to do this again, make sure it's not called LinkedIn contacts. And secondly, I did stop. I did stop. But it really, what you're saying is it's okay to do that.
Well, here's what I would say to do. If you're going to do that and put them into a separate list, what I would then do is, before you just start automatically sending them your newsletter or something, just say, hey, we're connected on LinkedIn and I thought you might enjoy getting information from me. I send out this newsletter once a week. And if you want to get this, great. If not, feel free to unsubscribe.
So feel free to unsubscribe. Okay, so not asking them for another opt-in, just... Right,
okay. You're just letting them know, I'm going to send you this information. If you don't like it, give it a chance. If you don't like it, then you can always unsubscribe. Okay, and that way, because by virtue of them connecting with you, they've given you access to their email, but it's still nice to be polite and don't abuse the privilege.
Right.
Some
So
people do.
in other words, you can create some kind of I talked the other day on a live about an email series, right? So you could, if you're going to download your LinkedIn contacts, your first email can be, listen, we're connected on LinkedIn, and I thought you might be interested in what I do and what I have. But if you're not, feel free to unsubscribe. That I like that. And then they can go into your regular series.
Absolutely.
I just saw Jossie said, I'm the same, Jossie. If someone responds for the first time with a simple hi, thanks for connecting, I responded. But if they reach out and immediately start selling me whatever they do, it's a total 100%.
Oh, yes. 100%. Yes, absolutely. That was the other thing I was going to say is make sure once you do get connected, don't sell them in that very next message. Oh, I have unconnected with people who do that to me, because it's like, really, come on, we're just getting to know one another.
Yes. No, you're right. And again, I say I run a group. It's free. If you're interested, love to have you there. And that's it. I'm not then going back. I have some guy after me. I don't know. He must have sent me 16 messages. He's a marketing company. And I'm getting ready to disconnect from him because offered me once, I guess, and I do. And maybe I'm breaking my own rule. I teach my people it's not a no till it's a no. So maybe he's the master salesman, but he's pissing me off because it's too often.
Yeah.
Right? Like maybe I do. I think I just answered my own question. I have to say no. Thank you.
Yes,
Don't
exactly.
message me anymore.
He hasn't gotten the message.
He hasn't gotten the message. So, okay. So first connections and second connections. Now, can we send to second connections without someone first connections connecting us? I think I can, but again, I have the paid version, but I don't know people who don't.
I think the way that you can, I think you can't send them a message. Well, there's a way around it. I think the way to do it is you can't do it directly. Like if you were on their profile to send them a message, you would have to send a connection request first. However, if you're both members of the same group, then you can actually send them a message through the group without being connected, which is kind of cool. So that's the way that you can kind of get around that. Okay, so
LinkedIn has groups just like Facebook.
LinkedIn has groups just like Facebook, and really, I think Facebook copied their groups from LinkedIn because Facebook didn't have groups originally. But so LinkedIn has groups where people can join. There are, there's probably thousands of them out there, and all sorts of different. There's networking groups, there's industry groups, there's college groups, all alumni associations. So you can look for ones that make sense for you, in that maybe is a group where your prospects are hanging out. Okay. There could be, and not even necessarily in the industry, you could also even look for groups with, maybe you've got the same hobbies. You might find, interest that way. But then this is where you've got an opportunity to, well, number one, when you join a group, don't just immediately start posting. Start scrolling through, look at the conversations that are in, and start adding value. Add your own comments to them, so you kind of start getting the lay of the land, so to speak, and let people know that you're out there. And then you could start actually sharing your own content, start conversations, sharing articles, or just posing questions in the groups, just like you might do in Facebook.
Like Facebook, yeah. I mean, I told you before we went live, I'm inviting people into my Facebook group because that's what I'm growing, the actionable entrepreneurs. And at least 6 people have come back and said, I don't do Facebook, but I'd love you to start. Why don't you start a group here on LinkedIn? And I'm just like, I don't have enough time in my life to manage all of that. So that's interesting because I do find there seems to be a little bit of polarization, right? I'm a LinkedIn person or I'm a Facebook person.
Yeah.
And I do think it's important to figure out where your ideal client primarily hangs out.
Yes, exactly.
But I do like the idea if you are going for, if executives or high-level financial people are your target, they might be more apt to be in LinkedIn because they feel like it's more of a protected environment as opposed to Facebook. Yeah, I don't know how many of you guys know, not that you'd be going after teachers, but if anybody is their target market, if they happen to be teachers, a lot of teachers don't have Facebook pages. right? Because they don't want to be out there to their students, right?
Right.
Same with financial advisors don't always have LinkedIn pages because they're not allowed to have LinkedIn pages.
Yeah.
So it's like so one of the things I always recommend is my clients start when they're starting to work with clients,
Mm-hmm.
see if you could find out where they hang out on social media.
Yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
because if they're your ideal client,
right.
you're going to learn, say you have 5 clients in the next, 3 months, and you've asked all of them, like, hey, are you on Facebook, or are you on Instagram, or are you on LinkedIn?
Yeah.
And they happen to end up being your ideal client. That's going to give you a clue where your ideal client, which social media you should be hanging out on yourself.
Right.
And now let's say you've asked 5 and all 5 of them have a common denominator. Where would you put most of your marketing effort?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And even if you have a marketing person, you would direct it more to them.
Yeah, absolutely. And that makes it easier too, because then you don't have to necessarily feel like you have to be everywhere, but you can concentrate more of your time because we have such, precious time in our day. So if we can concentrate it on just LinkedIn, maybe just a little bit on Facebook, maybe that's just your personal where you hang out with your friends or vice versa, then it's going to be a lot easier on you and a little less stress to do that. So I'm all for that.
It sounds like everyone should just at least have a LinkedIn profile, kind of like having a Facebook business page, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a billboard where somebody might be looking for you, but still, I'm not thinking everyone should add LinkedIn automatically if they don't have the time. It's not to cause them an additional stress, but just to be knowledgeable about what is happening on LinkedIn and not to be afraid of it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And you can find, sometimes you can maybe think of it as a research tool because there are lots of people are posting lots of great content on there, great articles. And if you need something, need to reference, then maybe you just spend some time on there just using it to get information. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a place for you to be actively engaging unless that does make sense for who you're trying to attract.
There's this one guy, I'm not going to find him now, but I don't know what he does yet, but he has gotten my attention because all he does right now is post the coolest technologically advanced inventions.
Ooh, cool.
And he doesn't make them himself.
Yeah.
But he's like, look at this cool helicopter that turns into a car that turns into a boat.
Oh, and then,
right? Have you seen this?
I think I've seen that. Yeah.
And then he's like, look at this, these prosthetic legs that now can, do this also, right?
Yeah.
Constantly cool stuff. And I'm liking and sharing his stuff all the time.
Yeah.
The other day, was it him or someone else? They posted, like for people who work from home like we do, posted a reclining chair that all your computers are locked in. And
yes, I saw that. Yeah, I saw that. So it's way back. That was crazy.
I'm like, oh my God, I need one of them. Wait, hold on. Kaden, you mean just be normal human being? What's normal, Kaden?
Yeah, what a concept, right?
But this guy just posts all kinds of fun stuff. I'm always liking and sharing. And at some point, I'm going to go look at his profile and see what he does.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I guarantee he's a marketer of some sort with a marketing agency that's going to teach my coaching business how to ramp up to, $3 million. But he takes, and he says, I share my interests.
Yeah.
And that's how awesome. He gets thousands of shares.
Oh, yeah, I believe it. Yeah.
So he's not pushing out straight business messaging. I don't even know what the guy does.
Yeah, absolutely. But
he's got my attention.
Yeah, absolutely. But I found, and this was going back a few years, but because I was sort of just testing out some different content that I was putting on LinkedIn, and I found that I was just posting quotations like I do actually on my Facebook personal. I post like a daily quote. Well, I was doing that on LinkedIn, and then I would also sharing other interesting articles and what have you. But I found that those quotations usually got the most engagement because people they would comment on them. They found them interesting. So yeah, it's about, I think you're totally right, is to focus on what you're interested in and that you think other people might be interested in. And it doesn't necessarily have to be business related specifically. If you come across a really great, great video or something, cool, funny article or what have you, you can even share that on LinkedIn as well as Facebook, and be amazed at what people will find that
People
they
are
may
definitely
like. And
becoming more authentic on LinkedIn.
yeah, yeah,
It's feeling more like Facebook to me every day.
yeah, yeah. I think you're right. Yeah, because I'm sort of getting that vibe too. Yeah.
Going to really be genuine. But rest assured that any of these big social media companies are doing what they have to continue to grow. They're not going to get stagnant. They're not going to get stale.
Right.
You just have to try to keep up
Mm-hmm.
with their changes and change with them in order to market your business. So,
Yeah,
Gloria,
absolutely.
tell everybody where to find you.
Okay. Well, you can find me on LinkedIn, of course. I have a profile, so you can find me there.
I got to see if we're connected. I don't even know.
Yeah, I'm not even sure. And of course, I'm on Facebook as well. So you can definitely find me there. My website is gloriarand.com. So that's GLORIARAND.com. And and I actually do have a LinkedIn group and a Facebook group as well.
Tell the names.
So the LinkedIn group is called the Mindful Entrepreneur Network. And so you can find it on LinkedIn, looking for it there. And then on Facebook, I have a group called the Ignite Circle for Solopreneurs. And so it's a great place for those solo business owners who are looking for support in growing their business. It's a great place to hang out. So
awesome. Thank you so much. We just connected on
yay.
on
Okay.
LinkedIn.
Okay, awesome.
We were not connected.
Okay, I'll accept that request as soon as I get done.
and then it came up with add 723 more connections.
Oh, yeah, I know. Yeah.
Like, I don't want
to. You may know this person. You may know that person. No point.
Yeah. A lot of people don't have their pictures up here either. So I know their names, but they're not active on here. So why would I bother, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, well, thank you so much for being with me here today.
Well, thank you for having me. And that we just barely scratched the surface. There's even tons more that we could have even talked about, but we don't have all day.
We talked about you doing a private lesson for just my clients, where maybe we could go a little deeper and get very specific into how it could help them. And I would love to do that with you in the future if we want to put that on the calendar.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so if they are interested in the future, I put it up in my membership site, and then they can always reference it in my future clients too. So it'll be, continuous training and exposure for you too, which is always good.
Yes, definitely.
Okay. All right. We will talk about that more. How do I get out of this? Oh, okay. So thank you, everyone. Have a great weekend. I will be flying to Savannah, Georgia. I'm being picked up at 4:45.
Enjoy. Lovely.
Yeah, sure. But at least I'll have time to see the beautiful homes in Savannah. I've never been there before.
Oh, you'll love it.
I can't wait.
Oh, it's a gorgeous city. Yeah, and enjoy.
All my friends from the IDS, I think, Interior Design Society, oh, Jane, you're going to be there. Yay. This is like my 7th year, I think, 6th or 7th year going to the conference. So it's going to be fun to see a lot of my friends that I only get to see once a year. So
awesome.
Anyway, Gloria, thank you. Have a great weekend. And I will see you guys next week on Weekend Wind Down. Bye.
Bye.